I've been working on something new. Something better.
Hey everybody, get wrecked. So Black Lightning episode 1, this is going to be my Easter egg video. It was pretty straight up from the comics. Most of the characters that they're using for the series are right out of the Black Lightning comic books. There have been a couple limited runs. He's shown up during Justice League. But if you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. Obviously, there's a lot of Arrowverse stuff happening here, but I will explain how it's connected or not connected. So right at the top of this, I'll say that the producers, the president of the network, the showrunner is saying that it is not connected to the Arrowverse, but it is DC TV. This is a TV show with DC Comics characters set in the DC universe, but they're taking the material so seriously and they're dealing with such serious subject matter that they don't want to be shackled to the stuff that the Flash is doing or Supergirl or even what's going on Arrow. So that could always change in the future, but for season 1, it's going to be largely self-contained. But as you can see from the episode, they're not doing a traditional origin story like they've done in the past with the other DC TV shows, like The Flash is an origin story, Supergirl is an origin story, Arrow was an origin story. So they are flashing back to his time when he was originally Black Lightning 9 years ago, so he has the old version of the costume on when they're watching that footage from the convenience store. I watch this every day on my birthday. That was probably one of the funniest moments from the episode. There were a couple of the jokes, like the Harriet Tubman jokes early in the episode, that were a little on the nose, but this is the pilot episode, so usually once they get to the second, third, fourth episode, they sort of find their stride and you get into the tone of what the show's actually going to be. Usually pilot episodes aren't always indicative of what the entire show's going to be like. But you really only got a teaser for Tobias Whale at the end. He's the leader of the 100 gang. I know there's all kinds of 100 jokes because that's like a whole other CW show that has absolutely no connection to the 100 gang from the comics. Now in comics like Batman, you have Batman Beyond, so you see versions of all the characters in the future. There's actually versions of the 100 gang across different eras of DC Comics. So for the most part in present day, what you see is what you get. They're just a straight up gang just controlling the town, albeit in a sort of weird alliance with corrupt city leaders. So it's not the Suicide Slum of DC Comics, but it's something close to that. So he's closest to what you would think of as the Superman, Supergirl mythos. So if he is going to cross over with any of those characters, he would probably cross over with Supergirl characters. The real twist of the episode is that his daughters are developing superpowers, and I don't know which episode it's going to happen in, but obviously both of them will eventually, just like they did in the comics. If it wasn't clear, the daughters do not know that their father is Black Lightning, but his ex-wife does, so he wants to get back together with them, but they had that whole flashback where they explain how they're divorced now. The other places that you may have seen the characters, they did animated cartoons in the comics. The sisters are always pretty close in age, but for the most part, Anissa, the older one that was getting her powers at the end of the episode, she's more of a teacher at the school. Her younger sister, Jennifer, is still a student. Like, she's in class when the 100 gang hauls her out and takes her to that motel. They didn't give a timeline for how long it's going to be before Anissa tries to start being a vigilante by herself, but because they don't know their father's Black Lightning and Black Lightning doesn't know that they're developing powers, I think, we're building towards a funny moment where they try to take some criminals down while Black Lightning's out on the streets and they just bump into each other, and it's this really awkward, funny moment where they try to explain to each other, "Oh, sorry, I have powers, I've been a vigilante this whole time." It'd be like if Laurel and Oliver ran into each other while they're both being vigilantes during season 1. If Laurel had become Black Canary during season 1, like, "Oh wow, you're Oliver Queen and you've been the Arrow this whole time. Oh wow, you're Laurel, you've been the Black Canary this whole time. Maybe we should fight together." So I think eventually, because they have that family bond, eventually you'll start to see them fight crime as a family together. The older sister, Anissa, her name is Thunder in the comics. The younger sister's name is Lightning, so you get it, Thunder and Lightning. Thunder's powers, it looks like on the TV show, they're going to be using as sort of reverse Kitty Pryde. She can alter her molecular density, so when she breaks that sink, she's making herself super dense. This will be kind of funny, but probably the next best comparison to make would be Luke Cage's powers. Like, he has the impenetrable skin. Now, he's way stronger than Anissa or like Thunder would be in the comics. So she'll be strong, but not Luke Cage strong, and she'll have impenetrable skin and walk around looking like a normal person. She's not going to have metal skin like Citizen Steel or something like that. The younger sister, Lightning, is a bit of a different scenario because in the comics, she almost just glows, crackling with energy. Like when Black Lightning puts that big aura of energy behind him, imagine if her whole body looked like that. She can fly, she has lightning projection abilities, so I don't know if they're going to tone that down a little bit or if they're going to make her super fast because that reads a little bit like the Flash. She'd basically be a backdoor speedster in that scenario, so I think it's going to be a little bit different. Everybody in my timeline went crazy when they saw that James Remar was going to be in this. He shows up in all kinds of genre stuff like this. The character that he's playing, Peter Gamby, a lot of people were confused and thought that might be from the Batman comics, but he actually originated in the Black Lightning comic book. When he's talking to him about knowing him since he was 12 years old, what happened is he used to be an enforcer for the mob. He was responsible for the death of Black Lightning's father. So it's implied that that's when he sort of took Black Lightning under his wing as his penance and turned away from his life of crime and became his Alfred of sorts. They even have their own version of the Batcave that looks mysteriously like Barry's lab from season 1. They shoot it in Atlanta and they shot the Flash pilot in Vancouver, so it's not the same set, it just looks kind of the same. I'm assuming that they'll also develop their daughters' costumes down there too. Like the daughters will probably have their own proto versions of the costumes, like when they first develop their powers, like Oliver Queen or Barry Allen. They all have early versions of the costume, then later get upgrades. So I'm assuming this season we'll see this version of her costume relatively quickly. But just let me know in the comments, what do you think of this series so far? Do you guys want me to do weekly videos for this? If this is something that people are really interested in discussing every week, then I'm totally down to do videos. So I figured I'd do this video, see what everybody thought of it, and then we figured out going forward. The few big action set pieces were pretty good. I love the fight choreography. It'll be interesting to see what happens when they're all three fighting together, just based on the way the daughters learn to use their abilities. But Training Wheels Protocol, they'll probably wind up getting into fights on their own, doing, small-time vigilante stuff before they bump into their father on the street and they start trying to work together as a team. They do a much better job of using music than a lot of the other DC TV shows. It does feel like the heavy atmosphere of a Riverdale TV show if it was set more around the Southside Serpents. Like Darkest Timeline Riverdale, Jingle Jangle runs rampant. That's Black Lightning. So imagine a superhero rising out of that. So there is a new round of the Legion Ring giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment about the episode on the video. Congratulations to the winner from the video I posted a little while ago, Sean Barse. Please private message me so I can get your contact details. Click here to learn all about Mon-El's new costume and next week's episode of The Flash, and click here for my Flash episode 10 video. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. See you guys tonight.